Hello. It's been a while. How are you doing today? Good? Oh, me? I'm just doing great. Thank you for asking. Nothing's going on here, really. Just nothing at all. Absolutely nothing. Everything is fine. Welcome to the University of Florida, home of the Florida Gators, Gatorade, world-class academics, Kent Fox,
memes look fun,
a stunning campus, and Little Hall. I'll be your guide on this mini-series where I review every building on campus. Now you might be wondering, in the middle of a global pandemic and a stock market crash, why would I do this? I don't know. Mostly poor planning, I'd say. But I did get some footage before the outbreak happened. Don't worry, I didn't go out and film campus in the middle of a pandemic. Don't worry. Anyway, I'm your guide, so tough shit. Here's a little backstory about me. I'm a junior, by credits, with a double major in economics and math, so I get laid a whole bunch. I've spent nearly 3 years on this campus, so I know quite a bit of the ins and outs. But that being said, I mostly only take classes on the east side of campus due to my schedule. So this series will hopefully broaden my horizons, as well as serve as what not to do with your free time.
It's true.
UF is fucking huge. It's hard to emphasize unless you're actually here, but I'm gonna try my hardest to give it some justice. I won't, but I'll try. I'm also splitting this series into multiple parts because, my God, do you know how long it takes me to create one video?
It's been 84 years.
And also there's like hundreds of buildings on campus, so I have to split it up a bit. Freshman year. That was certainly a year. Being a freshman at UF is a lot of work. You gotta get used to the complete whiplash of being in college compared to high school. Your professors don't give a shit, your exams make you want to cry, and you're just surrounded by complete strangers who don't know you. Still better than high school though. But luckily, freshman year your schedule is confined to only a couple buildings. And to some, it'll actually only be in one building. Turlington. This massive behemoth of a building is Turlington Hall, home of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, which is the college that most people are enrolled in, myself included. No offense to the other colleges.
I don't think it's funny.
It also houses, and I shit you not, this is actually how big this thing is, the African American Studies, Anthropology, Asian Studies, English, Geography, Jewish Studies, Linguistics, and Sociology programs, along with Language Lab, and a whole bunch of vending machines. Yeah, they all fit in there somehow. But even if you're not in those majors, you're gonna go to Turlington another way. Introducing Turlington L007, this weird little lecture hall off the alcove of Turlington. It's kind of weird, but you'll know how to get there when you get there. This is your life freshman year. For me, I took Calc 1, Calc 2, Myths of the Greeks and Romans, and a Good Life. Do not take Good Life, by the way. A little fun fact. I took all those classes in Turlington L007. So 75% of my first semester was spent there. So get used to it fast. Good news, it's pretty big. So if you like big lecture halls, that's good for you. Bad news, it's pretty big. So if you don't like big lecture halls, it's not for you. Don't even try talking to your professor in Turlington L007. It's not worth it. There's 300 people are going to be hearing your question, and it's just going to waste their time. I'm sorry. Go to office hours if you want to talk to them. That's a little fact. Also, the foldable desks are infinitesimally small, so you're kind of better off just writing on the floor. And just don't take exams in that room. It's awful. Not that you have a choice to take an exam, but, well, professors, if you're watching this, which you're not, don't. Besides L007, there's a whole bunch in the building itself. Unfortunately, it's very scary in there, so I don't have much footage there. In fact, I have no footage, because I'm very scared. But take my word for it. There's multiple floors of winding corridors and dark rooms and the anthropology department. There's an elevator in Turlington as well. Don't go on that elevator, because every time I go on it, it feels like it's going to collapse. Unless you're into that sort of thing, then go ahead. But I'd say take the stairs most of the time. Also, if you do have a class inside, I'd highly recommend looking it up beforehand, actually going in there before your class actually starts, because God, it is really confusing there. There's little maps on the doorways that are supposed to be helpful. Yeah, use those if you can read them. The third floor has a weird smell to it too. I think that's where they keep the bodies. but I'll never tell. There's a handy alcove through Turlington that I'll get to later, but it features basically every Pepsi product in a vending machine. So if you're into that, by the way, UF is a Pepsi-only school. So if you do not like Pepsi, then you're gonna like it now. I mean, I like Pepsi the most, but, well, Dr. Pepper is the best too, but no, yeah, Dr. Pepper is the best, sorry. I'm not gonna go into this because this will go into a whole nother tier list and nobody wants to see that. I know I don't. That's where the Gatorade machines are. There's like every flavor there. Go there if you want some. What was I talking about? Anyway, all in all, Turlington is awful but cozy, if that makes any sense at all. Which it doesn't, but pretend that it does. It's very foreign and confusing at first. I mean, just look at the windows. They couldn't even agree on the shape. I mean, clearly should have been a rhombus. But very quickly, it'll become like a second home, just with more dark corridors and death. Unless that's your home right now, in which case, you'll feel just fine. I'll give it a B-. It's a good introduction to UF. Turlington Plaza. Yes, this gets a whole spot, and if you go to UF, you know why. Turlington Plaza is the immediate exterior of Turlington Building, and it's crawling with very normal people. It's a free speech zone, so you'll see plenty of protesters or people just spouting off complete nonsense, otherwise known as student government. My personal favorite was a group of anti-circumcision advocates. They were dressed in all white. Cool guys. There's also clubs and frats advertising there, but come on, nobody goes there for that. They go for the foreskin boys. Am I right? There are ways to avoid these people, though, in case you don't want to talk to them for some reason. To survive Turlington Plaza, you could either just avoid it entirely by going through a vending machine row, or you could put on headphones and just ignore everyone, or you could be a true hero and just walk through normally and prepare to say no thanks every 5 seconds. More power to you if you can do that, but God, it's hard sometimes. Besides the weirdos though, Turlington Plaza does look pretty cool. I will give it that. Oh, and we also have the potato. Yes, it's a rock that looks like a potato. You laugh now, but once society collapses, the potato's going to be the only thing left standing. And the potato will be the only one laughing then. Overall, I give Turlington Plaza a D. Just needs more foreskin, honestly. Century Tower. Across from Turlington is Century Tower, which is a beautiful tower that rings every 15 minutes from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sometimes they'll play popular music like the Star Wars theme or the Harry Potter theme, and the other themes. Most of the time they just play music that you swear to God you know, but you just cannot figure out for the life of you. And it'll take you about 15 minutes to figure it out, and then it'll be gone by the time you could do it. All in all, it is a really good looking building. It's iconic, and if you get the view from Marston, it's beautiful. But just get used to looking at it all the time because you're not allowed in it. Or at least I'm not allowed in it. Maybe they don't like me. I'll give it a B. Auditorium. This weird-ass Gothic building is the Auditorium. Why is it Gothic? I don't know. I've been in it once, and it was cool. That's where I saw the Goosebumps writer, R.L. Stine. That was a good experience. But then again, ooh. I'll give it a B+. The Hub. Not too far from Turlington is The Hub, otherwise known as the place where Chick-fil-A is, and Starbucks, and a pod market. And that's really it. I mean, there are some nice rooms that you can study in. They're in the upper floors or just right next to Starbucks. But I never see anybody that I know studying there. I don't know. Not to judge. But yeah, you're only familiar with the Hub if you go to Chick-fil-A, which you will freshman year. I actually went there so often that at one point the staff actually knew my name. And it was at that point where I knew that I had to flee the country. After freshman year, you don't go to Turlington. And if you don't go to Turlington, you don't go to the Hub. So after freshman year, you're done with this. It serves as a good introduction for freshman students, but it's pretty mediocre otherwise. I'm going to give it a C. AFIO Information Booth. I am contractually obligated to mention this because I have multiple friends in this frat. But if you or a loved one needs help getting across campus, go here. It's pretty nice, I guess. I've never actually asked, but I don't know. Just don't go there if Danny's there. It doesn't work too well. I'll give it an A for AFIO. Yay. Computer Science Lab. Nearby is the lab for computer science majors. I took my Stats 1 lab there. And it was a pretty good building. Or at least the room I was in. It was very big and spacious. And the computers didn't run like shit, so that's already better than most other computers on campus. If you are a computer science major, you'll know a lot more about it than I do. But on the whole, look good to me. I'll give it a B. Little Hall. Heading straight east of Century Tower will land you at Little Hall. For those of you who aren't familiar with Little Hall, you lucky bastards, it's the place where you have your calculus discussions. So that's enough of a reason to hate it. It's not the only reason I hate it, but it's certainly a reason. Besides calc discussions, Little Hall is everything else your heart could desire. Grimy floor, disgusting chalkboards, the worst bathrooms on campus. Second floor bathroom had a glory hole, not that I know. So it's no wonder it has the reputation it has. It's just such an easy punching bag. I mean, it's where the math department is. Come on, that's enough of a meme already. I'm speaking as a math major, okay, don't get mad. One of the few math majors there. Imagine getting a major where you have a guaranteed income. Engineers, am I right? Oh God. I do think I'm a little too hard on Little Hall though. It's fine. I mean, especially when you see the top 2 floors, which are actually very nice. It's kind of funny how nice the top 2 floors are. That's where the actual math department is. So if you go there for office hours or just advising, which I highly recommend if you're taking a math class, you kind of need that, but it just makes the building even weirder with how good the top floor is compared to the bottom floor. I mean, just compare them. Top floor, bottom floor. And you never think all this stuff is in Little Hall. It just makes it so perfect. What a perfect punching bag, a perfect meme material. I love Little Hall, I'm sorry. It's so gross and yet so fine. Overall, I'm gonna give it a plus C because you should never forget it. Side note, I'll go over food in another video, but Little Hall Express, it's kind of underrated. It's pretty good. It's got a KFC. It's got, what else does it have? I just go there for KFC. Yeah, it's just pretty good. Carlton Auditorium is just like 5 feet away from Little Hall, so you can't miss it. It's just a big auditorium though. It's not too much to talk about. It's also, like, I think it's bigger than L007, so it's gotta be one of the biggest lecture halls on campus. I've only been there to take exams, but it's like the perfect room to take exams, so it's pretty good in my eyes. But Fundamentals of Programming, which is the intro to programming class, that's where they have their lecture, so if you're in that, you probably will not like this, this building at all. I liked it a lot. I mean, you can write on the desks. That's already better than Turlington. Yeah, I think it's just the ideal test-taking room, second only to the physics building. I'll give it an A. Speaking of which, the physics building. Before I was an economics major, I was an astrophysics major.
Like, what's up with that?
It's funny how that works, but there have been weirder things that have happened in college, I think. So my first couple semesters featured a few classes in this building. Some of them were among the worst classes I've ever taken, ever in my life. I'm looking at you, Physics 2. No offense to the concept of electromagnetism, but you're just disgusting, and I want you to die. A lot of people are gonna have bad vibes here, because I don't think I know anybody who likes physics. Not even physics majors like physics. But God, this building is fucking great. I'm really jealous. I think that the physics building is the top tier among department buildings and lecture halls at UF. And I mean, just look at it. First off, the lecture halls are just sublime. It's spacious, nice looking, you can write on the desks. It has 3 PowerPoint displays. I mean, sure, you'll be bored at lecture, but you'll sleep on a nice table, so. The physics building also hosts a whole bunch of educational knickknacks in the little lobby area. And it's pretty cool. No other building has something like this. It's got little pendulums and glowy orb thing, fusion ball, is that what it's called? I don't know. Yeah, no other place on campus has something like this, so I have to give extra points for that. Overall, it's a fantastic building. It's just too bad that physics is, you know, physics. I just wish I saw more of it. I only took like 3 classes there, but then again, it is physics, so maybe one day, Mr. Tyson. I'm gonna give it an A. Before we move on, I'd also like to add a couple things about the area around the physics building, which not many people really know about from who I've talked to. Firstly, this shed is very scary. I don't know what's in there, but it's definitely not legal. And secondly, every Friday night there's open night viewings at the Student Observatory, which is just back down the physics building a little bit. It's great. There's little telescopes for you to view the stars, and it's wonderful. A couple paces due east and you'll enter through the bookstore entrance of the Reitz Union. I'm gonna be honest, Reitz Union kind of blows every building out of the water. It's like no contest, because I mean, it's extremely new, so it's kind of cheating. It's kind of hard to stress how big and incredible this building is, but here's a list of things that it has. Hopefully it'll impress you. the Reitz Union has a bowling alley, a food court, a pond, a performing arts theater, a movie theater, a computer lab, glass elevators, pool tables, a Wells Fargo, student government offices, a bookstore, and a fucking hotel. Yeah, once you know that there's a hotel in the Reitz Union, you know it's quite big. Again, this is a building that you'll go to a lot of the time when you're a freshman. I'd say as a sophomore, you also go there a lot, but it kind of tapers off after you're an upperclassman. I mean, it's impressive that you go here this often, and it doesn't even have a lecture hall. It's really impressive. I love Reitz. It's a beautiful building, and it's chrome. Unfortunately, its food court is kind of garbage, though. I'll go over that in the food video, but just a heads up. And most importantly, Reitz has the nicest bathrooms on campus. And I say that unironically, it actually does. Go to the Reitz bathroom, especially compared to the competition. Ooh, I'm gonna give it an S. The Swamp. This football stadium is the 18th biggest in the world, and it can hold up to 90,000 people at once. The stadium is designed in a way to amplify noise, up to 115 decibels, just short of the threshold for pain. So that's a plus. So if you want a non-zero chance of getting ear damage, or want to see Alberta, or just want to catch a glimpse of Kent Fox, then the Swamp's the place to be. Oh yeah, and they also have football games there. That's good too. I'm giving it an A. Now we're going to round out the lecture halls that I've been to, which are mostly on the northeast of campus. Anderson. Anderson is where I had my first class at UF. Intro to Linguistics. Highly recommend it, especially if Kulu's teaching it. But yeah, that's where I had my first class, and it set the bar incredibly high. I mean, the desks and spacing of the rooms aren't too incredible, but God, it looks great though. I love the creaking of the wood and just the aesthetic in total. It's beautiful. It's also a great place to study. Not many people take advantage of that. I'm gonna give it an A. Matherly. Matherly is slowly but surely eating up my schedule. I started out with one class in Matherly my sophomore year, and now, my second semester of junior year, I have 3 out of my 4 classes are in Matherly, which is convenient and also nice because Matherly is hot. I like Matherly a lot. It's clean, it's got a nice interior and exterior. It's a nice looking building. Once you start taking upper level math courses here, you really cannot go back to he who shall not be named.
What is with you? What is with you? Get out of my way!
It's also where a lot of business and foreign language classes have their lecture, so cool. My only issue with Matherly is the atrocious desks. They have wheels. I don't know why anybody would put wheels on a desk. Whoever made that should be fired.
Bro.
So every time I go into lecture, the desks are just in some unholy configuration. And it's just really annoying. You got to step up your A game here, Matherly. Like, this is some Turlington level shit. Overall, it's a solid B+. Heavener. Heavener is the hall you go to when you fail Calc 2. That's right. It's the home of the business college. And it's actually pretty cool. It has a cafe, study rooms, and an overall cool looking aesthetic. I personally was shocked at how nice it is, which goes to show how you shouldn't judge a building by its department. Unless it's little, of course. I'm sad I've only had one class there, but not too sad that I start taking business classes to see it again. I'm gonna give it an A-. Plaza of the Americas. This is essentially a mini Turlington Plaza, but kind of better in every way. It's far more open, so it's more manageable to get around people who want to talk to you. It looks much better. It's a better part of campus, in my opinion. You'll probably walk through here like once a week because it connects so many buildings like Lib West and Turlington and Peabody for financial aid. It's also where Krishna lunch is. And while I haven't had it, if it's as good as their music, then it's probably pretty good. So yeah, it's just a better Turlington Plaza. It's still got some weird solicitors out there though, so you gotta worry about it, but not nearly to the extent of Turlington Plaza. I'll give it a B+. Farrior. Have you ever wanted to get help with your major? Like what classes you should take and when you should strive to graduate? Well, be ready to wait in line for 3 hours to maybe sort of kind of get an answer to that. In Farrior Hall, home of the academic advising for College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. The best college.
You shut the fuck up!
It's a nice building, but it takes way too long to get any sort of help. And if it's drop ad week, then whoa, good luck, dude. I'll give it a C-. Essential to the freshman experience are libraries, and it's a pretty hotly contested area. So I'm gonna have to walk on eggshells when I talk about this. I'm here to give you an unbiased, objective set of facts so that you can decide which library is best for you. Anyway, here's why Newell is the worst library. Newell. If you ask any random Gator off the street if they think that Newell is considered a library, I'd say 99% of them would say no, and the other 1% would be uninformed freshmen. So don't be those freshmen. Newell's existence is in a constant state of dispute. I'd highly recommend staying very far away from this place. If you could even get a spot in Newell. There's like 10 in the whole fucking building. It's not even worth the artificial scarcity of the seats. Other classrooms are better for studying than this fucking place. Ugh. Newell is just a freshman trap. It's open 24 hours, it's right next to Turlington, but don't be deceived. Please, just go anywhere else. Just resist the urge. I've studied there maybe 3 times in total, and it's been underwhelming every time. Yeah, only bad things about this place. I'm sorry. Go to any other library or just any other room. Honestly, Little Hall would be better for studying than this place. Yeah, hard avoid, please. I'm giving it an F. Marston Science Library. Here's where students are pretty evenly split. Newell is the only thing we can all agree on. Okay. It's awful. But the real question is if Marston is better than Lib West. And that's kind of hard to answer. I mean, me personally, being the enlightened centrist that I am, find them both to be great libraries for different reasons, and it'll depend on the person mostly. For example, I think Marston is much better for group activities and group work. I mean, Marston's first and basement floors, they're pretty noisy for a library, and I know that it's kind of the opposite of what a library should be, but some people do like that. A more social area to study in. I mean, I guess you won't really do too much work if you're too social, but different strokes for different folks. The study rooms in Marston are really, really good though. You can book them online. They come with TVs and whiteboards and mostly soundproof walls, but if your group is a little too loud, it might come out. But whose fault is that really? So if you want to go with a couple friends and bang out a couple Calc 2 practice questions, then I think Marston is pretty ideal to go, especially in the study rooms. But if you want complete and utter silence, I think Lib West is going to be your choice. If you do want to get some silence, Marston top floors are much quieter. They get more quiet as you go up in floor, but even then, still not quite the same as Lib West. Overall though, Marston gets my seal of approval. Definitely give Marston a try. I'm giving it an A. Library West. This is Lib West, or as I like to call it, Starbucks. Just kidding. Lib West is an excellent place to study. It's a lot of people's personal favorite, and I can definitely see why. It might be my personal favorite too, but we'll see. It is pristinely quiet. I think if you talk in Lib West, you will be shot on sight. The only exception are the moving bookshelves, which I can't get footage for that, but just imagine... But the moving bookshelves are pretty fun, because you have so much power in moving the bookshelf left and right. It's the little things, man. It's just a nice, serene place to do homework besides that. There's even little cubbies you can go into, and it's just, overall, it's a great experience if you just want to study by yourself like a madman. So I would say that Lib West is just a little bit better than Marston, just for my personal study habits. It's only ahead of Marston by a smidgen, and that smidgen is the revolving door. Come on. We all love it. Saves energy. Smathers. For all you smart people who wondered if Library West implied the existence of a Library East, you're really smart, because this is Library East. Although it kind of just goes by Smathers, that's what people normally call it. I've never actually been in Smathers though. I've seen the outside and it looks really cool. I can only really judge it from the pictures because I wasn't able to film inside, so I guess it's good. A lot of people like it. There's a certain minority of people who like it. More power to them. I don't know how they got in. I think it's mostly for grad students. If you get in, good for you. Oh well. I'm just going to judge it on what I think it is. I'm going to give it an A. Yeah, take that with a grain of salt. I've never been in this building, but I just had to feature it because it's there. Pugh. Okay, this isn't really a library, but it's one of my personal favorite study spots, so I had to include it. It's a great place to study, assuming you find spots, of course. Pretty tight in there. I mean, if you're lucky, you might eke out one of those staircase seats. Yeah, they have staircase seats. They're living in the future, man. Pugh is really underrated. I always have a good time when I study there. It's pretty close to all the important buildings like Turlington and the AFIO information booth. I definitely recommend it, but I think it could use a couple more seats. So try it out. I'm giving it an A-. So as a freshman, you might be wondering about good places to eat on campus, but I'm afraid that we have so many that it would be ridiculous to put into this video, so I'm sorry. It'll be a separate video, and I have mentioned this before already. But since this is the freshman experience, I kind of have to include the dining halls. It's where a lot of you will be spending your time, unfortunately. and I kind of have to mention that. UF has 2 dining halls, Broward and Gator Corner, of varying quality. Before I say anything about them, I will say that unless you are planning to eat a buffet like 5 times a week for 3 meals, then the meal plan is going to be a waste of money. Don't tell UF I said that, though.
You what?
The dining halls themselves are kind of the reason why. Broward Dining. Did you ever want an all-you-can-eat buffet with a shitty service, shitty food, and stunning lack of variety? Well, you're in luck, because Broward has this all for just the low, low price of $9 per visit. Yeah, it's a scam. Unless you have a meal plan, there's no reason to go here. And if you have a meal plan, then you're going to have to go here like every day just to get your money's worth. So get used to it. I know I did. I got a little too used to it. I mean, it's fine if you're a freshman and you just want to meet with your friends, but man, it gets old after a while. I mean, it's not even the best dining hall on campus, so the only reason to go here is if you have a meal plan and you're at that part of campus, which is like the Yulee, Broward, see the Cypress, that whole area. That's the only reason to go there, because it's close and convenient. Only positives are the ice cream and some occasionally good food and the Chick-fil-A next door. I'm gonna give it a D. It's a hard avoid unless it's necessary. Gator Corner. It's still a dining hall, but it's much better than Broward, so yeah. It's much more spacious and the food is just of a better average quality. For example, the pizza's actually good, dare I say, and the staff's pretty nice, from when I was there at least. It's just in every way better than Broward. The only problem is it's a bit of a walk if you live far from the stadium, which I think a lot of freshmen are, but if you live in Simpson, then God, yeah, go here. Although I'd use that pod. God, well, isn't Simpson getting destroyed? Oh, I'm sorry. I like Simpson. But again, Gator Corner is still an overpriced buffet, so don't go here if you don't have a meal plan. That's the whole message here. Don't get a meal plan. As somebody who's bought the meal plan for 2 years. 1 year at most if you're gonna get a meal plan, I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm gonna give it a C+. It's passable. That about does it for my freshman experience, but I know there are plenty of people who do not have my same freshman experience. So I decided to ask my friends, and then investigate the buildings that they mentioned just to get a better sample of what you might expect as a freshman at UF. And wow, it's going to be really exciting. For all you pre-med Gators, or for those who derive pleasure from pain, you have the chemistry department at UF. I'm assuming you're going to have a lot of problems with your classes because chemistry is, well, chemistry. But I think you guys are all right because I saw Hernandez Hall and I think you guys are going to be fine. Hernandez. This is where they let freshmen take Chem Lab. And no, I am not jealous at all. I mean, look at it. It looks like they're trying to cure cancer in this building. Like, come on. Don't want to have to bring up the L word, but it's certainly better than some buildings that some majors have to go through. Everything's so sleek and chrome, and there's study rooms, and it's just, there's nothing on the floors, and it's so clean, and the water's good. The water's nice and crisp. That's rare. I can't say anything bad about this place except for the classes that are held in it, so I'm gonna give it an A+. The chemistry lab building. Not to be confused with Hernandez, which is the Chem Lab building for freshmen. The Chem Lab building is where lecture is held for the intro chem classes. Yeah, I'm just as confused as you are. I feel like this used to be the de facto Chem Lab building, you know, which is why it's called the Chem Lab building, before Hernandez, because Hernandez was put in 2016, which might explain why the Chem Lab building has chem labs in it, in their hallway, and God, it's just so confusing. Anyway, this building is okay. If this was the only Chem Lab building that you guys had, then I would be a little sorry for you, but you got Hernandez, so I don't feel bad for you at all. In fact, I want to be you. I'm giving it a C. The journalism building. I have yet to meet a journalism major at UF. So, if you're one of those, please let me know. I know you guys exist somewhere. I'll find you. That being said, I have walked through the journalism building probably more times than there are journalism majors at UF. It's always the way I walk through if I want to get a Reitz. It's just more convenient because I live in Murphree area, or, well, I did live in Murphree area, rest in peace. I mean, it's a cool building though. I walked through it for a reason. There's the radio booth, which was under construction when I filmed there. Don't know why, but...
You're a fake and a fraud!
Cool when it's not under construction. You can also see the cool ass conference rooms, which you need a key card to get into, which I'm definitely not jealous about. And this thing. Definitely a plus. I don't know what you'd do without it, man. This really brings everything together. It's a nice building, and I think I'd rank it even higher if I was actually allowed inside it.
Let me in. Let me in.
So, journalism majors, I think you've got it pretty good. I'm giving it an A-. McCarty Hall C. Apparently there's 4 McCarty Halls, because why not? They're all located near the Reitz lawn, and they all surround this little garden area, which is appropriate because McCarty Hall C is where the bio lecture is held. Fortunately, I tested out of Bio 1 with AP credit, so I'll never have to revisit those memories. But for those unfortunate souls who have to take bio, this is the lecture hall. It's fine for a lecture hall. I think there's other stuff in McCarty, but I was too scared to go in there, man. Shit looks weird. Not as bad as the shack near the physics building, but still, something's not quite right in McCarty. I don't know. I mean, the garden's pretty cool too. Not too much else to say about it. I'm gonna give it a B. Architecture building. This building is the most appropriately designed for its department. It's definitely one of the weirdest looking buildings on campus. Definitely looks like an architecture major made it. Doesn't mean it's bad though. I mean, I really like it actually. The weird winding staircases and the open window classrooms just make for a really unforgettable experience. I'd highly recommend it just to stop by if you're ever in the area. Yeah, if you're ever bored on campus, go check it out. And if you're an architecture major, you should probably go there every once in a while. I'll give it an A-. Well, that's all the buildings I got to before the outbreak. Sorry I didn't plan for that happening. I think I got the most important ones out of the way for the freshmen, but please, if I missed any, let me know in the comments. Call me stupid, call me a raptor, I don't care. So far, I'm already planning on making separate videos for food, of course, the dorms, and engineering buildings. You thought I forgot about you, engineers. Don't worry. As well as some miscellaneous and weird buildings, like... I know my upload schedule is completely non-existent, but please just stick with me. Hopefully all this free time will actually allow me to make things. Obviously not this series, because I won't be back at UF until August. Maybe not even then. Yikes. I've got a couple different ideas for videos besides the campus review, and we'll see where they go. But they'd probably be a little bit different than this. We'll see what happens. It takes me forever to make anything anyway, so who knows if it'll even happen. But yeah, this is the thing I'm working on now. Hopefully it's good. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.